In the quaint town of Eldridge, where nothing out of the ordinary ever seemed to happen, David Miller lived a life as mundane as the town itself. That was until he received the first call. It was a chilly October evening, and David was settling in for a night of solitude with a book in hand when his phone rang. The number was unknown, but curiosity got the better of him, and he answered. David Miller. The voice on the other end was eerily calm. Tomorrow at 3:27 p.m. you will find a stray dog by your gate. Take care of it, it's a sign. David chuckled, dismissing it as a prank, but the very next day, at precisely 3:27 p.m., a shivering stray dog was indeed at his gate. Baffled but feeling a strange obligation, he took the dog in. The calls didn't stop there. Each one predicted small, seemingly inconsequential events in David's life. Despite the growing unease, there was a part of him that wanted to believe there was a benign purpose behind these calls. However, the tone of the calls began to shift. The once benign predictions took a darker turn one fateful night. The same calm voice, now laced with a sinister undertone, delivered a chilling message. David, tomorrow you will receive news of a tragedy. Your friend Michael will meet his end. Beware the ides of your own despair. David tried to dismiss the call, to convince himself it was just a sick joke, but the knot in his stomach wouldn't loosen. He attempted to warn Michael, but his concerns were met with laughter and dismissal. The next day, the news came. Michael was found dead in his home, an apparent victim of a burglary gone wrong. The police said it was a random act of violence, but David knew better. The calls had predicted it. From that moment on, the calls became a tormenting countdown to tragedies that unfolded around David. Each call peeled away the layers of his sanity, leaving him a shell of the man he once was. Friends began to distance themselves, fearing the palpable aura of doom that seemed to cling to him. David's life spiraled into a nightmare, with each ring of the phone heralding a new horror. He changed his number, even moved homes, but the calls always found him. The predictions became more personal, more terrifying, hinting at a dark secret in David's past that he had buried deep within his conscience. In a desperate attempt to end the torment, David threw his phone into the river, hoping to silence the ominous voice forever. But the very next day, a new phone was delivered to his doorstep, its screen illuminating with an incoming call at that very moment. With trembling hands, David answered, and the voice, now more menacing than ever, whispered, "You cannot escape your fate, David. The final call will come for you, and you will wish you had listened. Look inside yourself. The darkness you fear is closer than you think." The line went dead, leaving David in a suffocating silence. The calls had stopped, but the fear remained, gnawing at his sanity. He was left to wonder what the final call would bring and when it would come. But deep down, David knew the truth. The darkness the calls had warned about wasn't lurking in the shadows. It was within him, waiting to be unleashed. And so, David waits, haunted not by the calls, but by the knowledge of his own capacity for darkness. The final call had always been a reflection of his own soul, a soul now lost in the shadow of its own making. Subscribe to the channel, and also on our Telegram and Facebook there are a lot of interesting stories.